the girl was like, oh, how are we gonna do that? And the guy was like, don't worry, I'm gonna surprise you, just check your phone. So you guys probably know where I'm leading with this. This guy takes the iPad into the washroom. Himself and him took his iPad in the washroom. Started taking all these scandalous photos in the washroom, worse than the scandal itself. And he now sent them to her. Woo! What up, it's Wizzy, and we are back with another video on how I escaped prison in Egypt. So get comfortable, let's continue the story. To the viewers who have come from my shorts or my social medias, I'll post them somewhere on the screen. Thank you so much, I really appreciate you. And let's continue. So, after I was turned down to get some extra food awaiting me, you know, going to the market and proving my worth, I had to go get some damn ramen. It just felt so pathetic. Went all the way to the basement to get this one pack of ramen noodles and had to do the whole shebang. Since there's no microwave in the guy's quarters, I had to go and ask Shaw for assistance. Hey, can I just use your microwave? He's like, yeah, sure. Ate the raggedy ramen noodles, especially because at this point in time there was no extra additionals I could put in the ramen, so it was just regular ramen and it was pathetic. Anyways, so go to bed, and then I'm woken up to hurry up, wake up. And I was like, what is going on? So everybody's being woken up and I'm like half asleep, and then this one guy comes to the room and is like, wake up. And I was like, who is this guy? So I get up, it's this unidentified person, and then I'm like half waking up, and then he's like, I don't think I've met you before, you must be new. And I was like, still like halfway sleeping. And then he was like, well, it's great to meet you, I'm the president. I was like, huh? I was like, yep, the president of this place, it's great to meet you, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you. I was like, I woke up so fast because I'm just like, I've heard so many dragon tales, myths, fables, and legends about this guy. So now to actually see him in the flesh, he's this big guy, I was just like, well, damn, you know? So he was like, y'all get ready, do what you gotta do, and head to classes. So get up, you know, everyone seems to be on their best behavior. Everybody's like pristine, everyone got out of bed so quick, everybody ate their food so quick. Usually people are like taking their time, looking around, dozing off, you know, missing. Nope, everybody was right there and nobody was messing up. So, you know, go down, we have our breakfast, do our classes, and so on and so forth. And I passed by the staff office. Tell me how the president's in the you know, the president's chair, because it's usually like Abu Shah that's there. So Abu Shah, Faye, and Mo, they're all there, and the president's like in his chair, and they're all like having a little chat. And I'm just like, oh, so Abu Shah is not even up in that chair anymore. It's the president that's up in there. So I was like, okay, no problem. You know, just being observant. So, you know, we go do our classes, whatever. It's the nighttime now, right? So the president calls me and Declan to the office, so we're just like, what do we do? So we walk up in there, and he's like, all right, so I've noticed that you two are not in uniform. And we're just like, huh? He was like, yeah. So turns out that like everybody there wears like a robe, and that's kind of like the uniform. So he was just like, y'all need to go acquire that as soon as possible. And I was just like, he's just like very like straight to the point, straightforward. And like he doesn't mess around, you know, like, and we were just like, okay, like, how are we gonna do that? And he was like, so the bus is gonna be coming soon, he's gonna pick you guys up, you guys are gonna go to the store and grab it, then you leave to come back. And we're like, okay, cool. So then he was like, so you guys can go wait in like the main lobby for the bus to come. And then we're about to leave, and I was like, I should seize this opportunity to ask this guy some questions, because I'm like, there's so many laws, rules, and regulations happening up in here. I was like, let me find out as to why that even is. And I was like, quick question, can I just ask you a couple things, you know? He was just like, yeah, no problem. So Declan sits down with me, so we're both sitting down. And then I was like, so how come we can't, like the guys here, how come we can't speak to the women? And he was just like, oh. Like, you know, like it seemed like he was like shocked that like I asked that question. And he was kind of just like, oh, what brought this up? And I was like, well, the first time I arrived here, they screamed and ran. And there's even like papers on like the walls that are like, you can't do this, you can't talk to women, and this and this and this. And I was just like, so I just wanted to know why there's so many laws put in place here. And he was like, you know, there have been a lot of things that happened in the past which led to the way that it is now. And he was very like brief, and I was kind of just like, I'm gonna need a little more than that, you know, like I'm not these other youngins that are up in here. Like I need to know like why these things are happening if I'm going to be spending this much time here. So he was kind of just like, okay, I'll let you know, it'll shed some light and then we can put this to bed. And I was like, okay, no problem. So he was like, why you can't speak to the women? So there's a story about Fatima. I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, so Fatima was dating Shane. So these are just telephone names, by the way. Fatima was actually real. I don't remember the guy who she got with, but that's not the point. So Fatima and Shane were like a whole item. People kind of like knew about it, whatever, right? So then this next girl comes into the scene, Jessica. So Shane is now interested in Jessica more than Fatima. So, you know, a little time has gone by. Fatima's noticing that, you know, Shane isn't as engaging and so on and so forth, and he's spending more time with Jessica. So then now it has been brought to Fatima's attention that Shane is now together with Jessica without even relaying to her any of this. So Fatima's so mad. So she runs downstairs after she finds out about this. She goes to the staff office and she's like, you know what? Me and Shane did this up in the roof. Me and Shane did this up in our room. This, and that. Aired all their laundry to the whole staff and president. And he was like, oh, so you guys have been doing all of that. Expelled. These people, they got booted faster than the Imperial ones did suffer. And he was like, we had to get rid of them because we had to make an example of them so that nobody would do any other foolishness like that, and set the rule that no discussion from the male can happen to the women. I was like, wow. So it's all Fatima and Shane's fault. Not that it's that big of a deal, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. It kind of creates like a barrier between the genders, and it gets a little awkward at times too. So I was kind of telling him that. I was kind of just like, well, why are we being penalized for something that happened in the past? And they're just like, well, this is what we're doing to kind of like set things in motion to kind of like keep things proper, especially because the president isn't there all the time. It's only like the Abus. So he was just like, that's just the way it is. And I was like, okay. I was like, next question. So why is there no access to any electronics or Wi-Fi? Like, why is it confiscated as soon as we arrive? And why is there no access to the internet? And he was like, so this one kid, the kids, we allowed electronics at one point, said the president. And he was like, but it turns out that it was being misused and not properly used, actually. And I was like, I kind of had an idea as to where this was leading. So he was like, this one kid had an iPad, right? And, you know, he fancied this one girl, and they were chatting, and then they wanted to take the relationship to the next level. So the girl was like, oh, how are we going to do that? And the guy was like, don't worry, I'm going to surprise you. Just check your phone. So you guys probably know where I'm leading with this. This guy takes the iPad into the washroom. Himself and him took this iPad to the washroom, started taking all these scandalous photos in the washroom, worse than scandal itself, and he now sent them to her. Little does he know that there's an Apple cloud. So all the pictures he's taken are now visible to his parents. So the parents are now scrolling through their photos or seeing that there's an update in the gallery and now see all these naked pictures of their child. They picked up the phone and called so quick, and they were like, why are there naked pictures of my child on this thing? Electronics and Wi-Fi confiscated. So they're like, so that's what ended up happening, which is why we figured it'd be best for them, or for everybody here, to just focus on their studies instead of trying to make some next level sexual connections with other people up in here. I was like, okay, I have another question. And he was like, wow, you seem to be very interested in the workings here. And I was kind of just like, yeah, well, if we're going to be here for some time, I want to know as to why these things are happening, why you set these rules in place, and if there are ways that they can be broken so that people can actually enjoy their time here. And he was like, okay. So next question I asked was why there's barbed rails, the barbed rails on the window, so nobody can even escape. Prison break. And he was like, so there's this one kid, and I'm like, these damn kids, it's always the kids that are messing everything up for us. So he was like, this one kid was in a group with all these other kids, so they're all chatting and they're all doing their thing and laughing, whatever, right? So then the kids placed a bet and dared one of the other kids to jump out the window for money. Y'all